Hi, my name is Jane Powell. Welcome to Community Connections, brought to you by the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. This is a show showcasing community involvement. I've got a great guest today, Crystal Good, founder and publisher of Black by God, West Virginia.
Yes, hi Jane.
Crystal, I can't wait to hear about this. I know a little bit. I want to learn a lot. So it all started in 2020, is that right?
Well, it actually all started from my 15-year-old self.
Okay.
Yeah, so Black by God is a news and storytelling organization that started in 2020. We do a newspaper print, we have social media, we do newsletters, and we tell stories of Black Appalachian life. But to rewind how this idea bloomed was from a 15-year-old girl in me that's wanted a newspaper. When I was 15 years old, I tried to buy the Beacon Digest, if you remember the Beacon Digest. It was owned by the Starks family.
Okay.
I'm not sure how or why I thought that I could buy a newspaper at 15. I had some babysitting money. I was on my school newspaper. I was on my yearbook staff. I knew how to cut and paste. For folks listening, I remember getting a Mac computer in high school, which was a big deal, right?
Yes.
But dating myself. But, I'm proud that at 50, my 15-year-old dreams have came true. I asked my dad, rest his soul, if he would go ask Mr. Starks if I could buy the newspaper from him. And he did, and Mr. Starks wouldn't sell the newspaper to me, but he said I could sell ads for them. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But it just tickles me that in 2020 I started a newspaper. So this is a long time coming.
It is, and I love it when dreams come true. Mm-hmm. So, multimedia.
Yeah.
You do print?
Well, we started with the print paper, which was 2020. We were in a pandemic.
Oh, I'm a newspaper girl.
Yeah,
so.
And I love the print. And we printed these papers. I printed these papers, didn't really have a plan. And then somehow 15,000 newspapers got across West Virginia. People were meeting at mile marker 72. Meet me at the Go Mart over here. People were taking them, we're in a pandemic. We are in Black Lives Matter movement, and the energy was there. And that's when I was like, wow, the power of the people, right? The power of the people. And then social media watching it. And so where we are now with Black by God is we do a print, and we will always do a print.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, and print is not dead, and it's also really beautiful to watch teenagers. I got to tell you that one young woman was looking through the paper, and she looked at me. She said, "Miss Crystal, I don't know how a newspaper works." And I thought, "Oh no, what is this?" But it really made sense because the young generation is used to this, right? They've never held a newspaper.
They scroll. So
when I have a story on page 2, right? That ends, and you got to read the rest of it on page 10. This makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So I picked up some things. If the story ends on page 2, I don't care about how we have to redesign. We're just going to continue it on the next page. But it's beautiful to watch young people hold a newspaper because when they see themselves in it, right? And that's something they're so used to, sort of the digital, right? That a physical print makes a difference. And then for my generation and on up, it's tactile, it's real. And the beautiful thing about a print newspaper is it goes through many hands.
Yes, it does.
So one newspaper, can go through a family, and it's a souvenir, in terms of folks. And it tickles me. I love the print, but, printing costs, distribution, it's a very expensive medium to do right, especially because we want to keep our paper free to the public. So we are right now really doing a hard pivot into more multimedia. And that's because of our growth and also just the way people access stories. I'm a reader. I know you are. But, I could write all the stories in the world. I could make a great video that might give you the information that you need that might pull you into a story. So we're in a hard pivot right now.
Okay. I like it all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you mentioned something that I just want to talk about a little bit more. You mentioned meeting on the interstate. It is a statewide news organization.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because I can't. The good thing is there's so much Black life going on in West Virginia that I can't possibly cover it all, right? And so we are creating different content verticals and beats that I think are informative, and we try to give a perspective from the state. So we've got a tech, BBG Tech. It's also accompanied with a newsletter. So anybody listening, you can sign up for our free newsletters.
I love that.
BBG Agriculture. We have BBG, our general newsletter that goes out. And so our newsletters do very well because they're very specific. And when we started the agriculture newsletter, I believe within 1 week we had about 700 people sign up for that. And I thought, who are these 700 people in West Virginia that are specifically interested in what Black by God is going to be saying about agriculture in West Virginia? So, you know, the beautiful thing is the metrics are always there,
Right.
Telling us which direction to go. And then, you know, I think an important feature of Black by God is our relationship with the community and the way people feed us stories.
So talking about reporters and the tentacles that you have throughout the state, tell me about folk reporters.
Folk reporters. I love folk reporters. So folk reporters is, you know, it's blending my folklorist background and my reporter background into my advocacy background. So folk reporters are citizen journalists. You can be one.
Okay.
And to cover public meetings. So we've been plugging away at this program since we began. This year, I would say, was the first year we really had enough funding to do a proper folk reporters program, which was led by a young woman, Ellie Heffernan, and shout out to Ellie. We had a core of folk reporters that covered the legislature. So the intention of folk reporters is to fill that gap in the news that we have, where the local reporter is no longer covering city council meetings. They're no longer covering Public Service Commission. We have wonderful news outlets, but they can't cover all the committee meetings at the legislature. So a lot of things get unknown, right, unheard. And I think that's it's also teaching civic engagement and how policy works, right? So we train folks to listen to committee meetings and report out on them. And we're excited because the group of folk reporters that would have, some folks have really raised their hand and shown an interest and want to do more enterprise pieces. They want to go, you know, a little deeper into their possibility of being a journalist, right? And then, you know, so, and there really is a need across West Virginia for city councils and local government to be covered. Our news stations have been ate up nationally. You know what I mean? We don't have as many local reporters, boots on the ground. They're stretched thin. So I'm really hoping that this program will take off. And, you know, Jane, I see it as a model for rural America. I see the work that Black by God is doing in the media ecosystem as an example of what can be done all across America. So I think people hear Black by God, the West Virginian, and understand that we do center Black voices, but we center our full and whole big community, and we know that our community needs information, and they need to know what's going on in their local governments.
Yes, and you made a really good point. Our media is our traditional media, let's say, traditional media is good, but it is stretched very thin.
Yeah, it's stretched very thin, and when you have when you're talking about the national news or international news, that's important.
Yeah.
But it's also important that what's going on at your local public service commission meeting or your dog catchers meeting or things going on. And here's the beauty of folk reporters: we're all storytellers.
Right.
Everybody on Facebook is a storyteller, right?
Right.
So it's not. I want people to know that you are the trusted resource in your community and your family. News and media we've lost trust, right? So the one thing that I protect and I'm aware of is that if people trust BBG, I feel like we can maybe have a misspelling or we might not follow the AP rules, but we can't give you incorrect information. Right,
I agree with that.
We have to make sure our trust is, and the greatest trust that we have are with what I call local influencers, right? And so those folks that that's who people trust. That's who you know. If Miss Susie says, right, there's going to be a meeting down there, and you all should go because they're going to raise your rates or give more information. And that's really what we're trying to do with Folk Reporters, is help folks know who, what, when, where, why, how, and what do you want people to do, and these are the resources. We call it solutions, right? We want all of our articles, which we're in a process of really understanding this ourselves, is how do we just not give the news, right, but offer people solutions and resources in every story that we offer.
I think you're bringing them in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So along those lines, I know that you're involved in a new project called Youth Voices Rising.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
Well, it goes back to that 15-year-old self. Anything I can do to help inspire young people into the world of journalism and curiosity and content creation is a win for me. We are really, I think, we're not at a loss for storytellers in West Virginia, but we're at a loss, I think, for people understanding what the career in the industry is and how it's shifting. So Youth Voices is a great opportunity. I'll be working with Tracy Phillips, who's leading this project. We're also going to be working with the Norman Jordan Arts Camp.
Two great names right there.
Yeah, Norman Jordan Arts Camp. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be working with young folks to help them tell stories, print and multimedia, and they'll have a platform. We're going to publish the stories over a series of time, and that to me, when I can show somebody their byline, it gives me great pride. And I have a vision. Somebody will write their first byline for BBG, and they'll go win a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, I hope so. But I got to say, the first time, whether you're 10, you're 20, or you're 50, that first byline is kind of fun.
Yes, yes.
And yes, so that's exciting. All of your newsletters, all of the print, all of the other media that you're doing, how do people support your mission?
Well, read us.
Okay.
Read us and share us, right? But I'm going to steal a quote from Dr. Smith.
All right.
Dr. Smith, Dr. Shaniqua Smith, says, give us your time, your talents, and your treasure. So with BBG, we are community-led. We need volunteers in various capacities. We need volunteer editors. We need folks to help us distribute the paper. There's some real tangible things that you can help with BBG. But we also need your resources. We need your treasure. We've recently lost a very sizable federal grant that has really impacted us. And so we need folks to donate to BBG. We need folks to donate monthly to BBG. And if that's not possible for you, just share with somebody that may be able to. So the more, folks see Black by God and see the quality of the content that we're doing, we just needed to jump in. Time, talent, and treasure.
That's right. And we all have one of those that we can give. And maybe it's not the same one every month. Right? At this period of time, I've got this to give you. And so I think there's always ways. I know that you do have a fundraiser that is kicking off soon.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
Like I said, we lost $350,000 with this federal grant that supported our agriculture content. It was over 5 years, and it was really a beautiful thing, because being a small independent news media organization centering Black voices in Appalachia, we really needed that 5-year runway. It really gave us a lot of structure and stability, and was able to center our content in some capacity around all things ag. We were going to get really smart on agriculture, and we still are. So this fundraiser
a topic very near and dear to my
heart. Yes, and we love it too. And we call ourselves story farmers, and we have, it's a wonderful cohort and community of journalists that are still committed, even though the funding is lost. Because I know we're gonna recoup that. It's going to happen. And we're kicking it off with a fundraiser May 2nd.
Okay.
There'll be a GoFundMe attached to it. We're trying to raise $100,000. And so the fundraiser kickoff is actually really fun. It's going to be on a houseboat and a 24-hour podcast-a-thon. So you can join us May 2nd. If you're watching this later, you can still go see the clips and the energy and things that are going to happen for 24 hours on a houseboat, thanks to Charleston Riverfront Water Sports. Yes,
Nice.
right. We will be broadcasting. Each BBG host will take it, but after the fundraiser, our campaign continues. We have a lot to do to recoup from this loss, and also just the continuation and building of BBG.
Right. Your 15-year-old self needs you to keep going.
My 15-year-old self is the one that's going to keep me up for 24 hours during this podcast-a-thon.
That's right. So that's really fun. Okay, so how do I find things? You do have a website.
Yes,
which
blackbygod.org.
Okay. And will that link me to a podcast?
Well, we're going to be broadcasting live from our Facebook,
nice.
Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. I think that's where we'll be broadcasting live from, and where you can find us also and follow. We'd like for anybody listening to be in one of our portals, whether it's signing up for our newsletter or following us on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah.
All right, so we've got social media, multiple channels of social media. The website, I'm guessing I can get signed up for a newsletter there.
Yes.
And that's going to give me all kinds of information. It's also going to give me the other topics and where I can kind of drill it down if I'm interested in a certain area. Is that right?
Yes, and one of the things that I'd like to mention that folks can do is we take opinion editorials. And we don't have a paywall. So
Nice.
you don't need to screenshot your opinion editorial and put it on your Facebook. Folks can actually click a link and go directly to it. And, one of the most, I'm very proud that BBG, we're working with JSTOR, and BBG will be archived because small digital publications, if you don't intentionally archive your work, it could just disappear. Right. And so I'm very proud that we've worked with JSTOR to make sure that Black by God all of our past articles, and I think for the next 2 years will be archived as we're working on that. So that means that our great-great-grandchildren will be able to find our opinion editorials and know what we were doing in 2025.
Yeah.
So I want to just, listeners out there, please consider submitting your opinions to Black by God, because we are building an archive.
I love that. Crystal, it's amazing to see how it's grown and how your visions come to life, and you're sharing it with the world, really, since it's digital. So I encourage people to grab a newspaper, scan the Facebook page, scroll through Instagram, and remember you when they're thinking about their time, talent, and treasures.
Yes.
That's right.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been Community Connections, brought to you by the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. We'll see you next time.